Hello, everyone. Buenas tardes a todos. We're going to give folks a minute or two to connect. Vamos a darles todos un momento antes de comenzar la junta. Welcome, everyone. Buenas tardes a todos. We're going to get started. Vamos a comenzar. So, bienvenidos a la Junta de Julio, to our July meeting for the International Border Community. So, antes de comenzar, voy a compartir las instrucciones para acceder a los servicios de interpretación. Voy a hacer esto primero en español y luego en inglés. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to share the interpretation instructions, first in Spanish and then in English. Para las personas que nos acompañan hoy a través de su tableta o iPad o de su teléfono inteligente o smartphone, favor de localizar el menú en forma de 3 puntos en la parte inferior de su pantalla. De ahí pueden seleccionar Language Interpretation o interpretación del lenguaje. Y enseguida pueden seleccionar su idioma, en este caso el español o Spanish. Para todas las personas que nos acompañan a través de su computadora, pueden localizar el símbolo de interpretación en forma de globo en la parte inferior de su pantalla. Hagan clic ahí y después elijan su lenguaje en español o Spanish. Ahora voy a dar las instrucciones en inglés. Here are the instructions in English. For all those joining us through their tablets or iPads or through their smartphones, please locate the menu in the form of 3 dots on your screen. You can click there, then select language interpretation, then select language of your choice. In this case, it would be English. If you're joining us through your computer, you can locate the icon in the form of a globe for interpretation at the bottom of your screen. You can click there and then select English as your language of choice. So we'll give folks a second to select their languages. We also want to do a little bit of a reminder for folks. We want to make sure that folks are participating, that, as we're doing presentations or doing activities, that, you're able to jump in and provide comments. So just a little bit of a quick refresher, if we are at the end of a presentation or in a part of the discussion, just want to note, the raise hand feature. If you ever are unsure where that is, you're going to look for the react button, and that you'll see that icon raise hand. So that will just let myself as a facilitator and the rest of the team know that one, that you want to jump in, and then that way you can make sure that you're unmuted and can provide your comment or feedback. So just as a quick reminder, we want to make sure our folks are participating and that there aren't any issues. If you are having any issues and your screen doesn't look like this, please send a message to Brisa from our team, and then they can kind of share more information on that and maybe sort that out for you as well. So looking at our agenda for today, so we're doing our welcome right now. We're going to be doing a little bit of a CERP Strategies priority check-in. So we have Shalem that's going to be walking us through that. And then we also have David, who is going to be doing kind of education modules. So we're taking these modules out as opportunities for the CSC to learn about particular topics, and then do a little bit of a deep dive in those topics. And then we'll do a little bit of closing remarks, and we'll adjourn our meeting. So it's a lighter agenda meeting today, but we should still have plenty of time, I think, for folks to jump in and provide any thoughts that they might have. So some general updates. So we'll start off with our first update, and this is more of a reminder. So we had that presentation from Sandag at our last meeting. We want to make sure that folks kind of, one, I think, understand that there is an opportunity for folks to provide comment. Sandag is receiving comments through July 18. Those comments can be submitted via online, via email, phone, or mail. So that link is listed on the screen, but I believe that's also been included in the listserv that's been sent out to folks. So if folks do have any questions regarding that Sandag regional plan, do reach out. We can connect you with the person from Sandag that also provided that presentation at the last meeting. And then the next item that we have here is an update or more of a resource that was shared by CARB. This is a resource for school districts looking to upgrade their bus fleets. So for any of those folks here in the CSC that are working with schools, this is a great resource for the school districts if you want to share that information with them. And I also believe this information is also included in the listserv. And then our last item on here, and we do have a couple more updates, is AB617 funding update. So Shalom, I think we're going to go to you for this update, and then we'll keep moving through this.
Most definitely. Thank you so much, Christian. If we may go to the next slide, please. As part of the update, what I wanted to do as well is provide some grounding for where does AB 617 funding come from in the state budget, and then give the current status of AB 617 funding, which funds the program that we're all a part of here today, the Community Air Protection Program, and what the status of that funding is as of right now for the state budget for the fiscal year 25-26. So this fiscal year that we've just entered. But just want to provide some grounding first, because the funding piece and the way programs are funded at the state level can get really complex really easily. So I wanted to have a graphic here to show essentially where the funding comes from. So the AB 617 Community Air Protection Program is supported by money from the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, also known as GGRF. This fund gets its money from the Cap and Trade Program, which the Cap and Trade Programs is at the state level. It sets a limit or a cap on how much greenhouse gas pollution industries in California can produce each year. And companies can choose to reduce their emissions, invest in projects to reduce emissions, or purchase credits at special auctions. And if I can't use my pointer, but I'm wondering if maybe Christian or Brisa can use their pointer to point out kind of the dollars right there. So what essentially happens is companies that choose to purchase credits at auction, that funding is then investment that is then poured back into the community through to support projects, right? And programs that essentially reduce air pollution and fight climate change. So we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So one of the programs, excuse me, I'm just getting over being ill. One of the programs funded by the GGRF funds is actually the AB 617 program, the program that we're all a part of here today. And it's the work we do together, right, to improve air quality in our communities. So the GGRF funding helps pay for several things. It helps pay for community emission reduction plan implementation efforts, right? Like this meeting that we're hosting, for translation, for Air District staff like myself, Lauren, David. Also supports the facilitators we have in this space as well, like Kearns and West and all. So it really supports the ongoing implementation and updates regarding the Community Mission Reduction Program. Second thing that GGRF funding also helps support is incentive grant funding. So incentive grant projects like the aire program, which is the indoor home air purifiers. So we've got actually a picture of Matt right there on the left, loading up some air purifiers into a person's car here locally. It also pays for things such as high quality air filters in schools, electric buses, electric heavy duty trucks. And then I have a picture here of an electric tugboat that this funding has supported as well in the past. And then the third thing that GGRF funding helps support for the Community Air Protection Program here locally is community monitoring as well. So as part of this program, communities like San Isidro, Otay Mesa, and also portside communities like Barrio Logan, National City, Sherman Heights, Logan Heights, we have extra monitors in those locations. Those monitors are costly, but also we have staff, technicians that are out there in the field, making sure that the monitors are in good working order. And then we have folks, chemists also, both out in the field and in the office doing the analysis, the data analysis, to check how are these CERP implementation efforts going? Is it reducing air pollution? Is it making the air better? And then being able to share that back with you all. The hydrogen sulfide monitors that we've talked about before in the past are also partially funded through this program, along with other funding from other sources as well. So GGRF, the Greenhouse Gas Reductionary Fund, has been an important funding source to do the great work that we've been doing the past couple of years together, and then at Portside, probably 7-8 years and going as well. But what's changing this year? Unfortunately, for the upcoming state budget year, the 25-26 fiscal year, the state of California did not include money for the AB617 program in their state budget. And because the state is facing budget challenges, it's actually moved some of that GGRF funding that had previous funded programs like AB617 or the Community Air Protection Program at the community level, is moving some of that funding towards CAL FIRE, which is the state's wildfire agency. And so it's really leaving less funds available for other programs, including AB617, the Community Air Protection Program, for work like implementation, monitoring, and incentive grants. And so that's what's changing this as of right now, what the anticipated change is. But I also want to uplift as well, like, well, what does this mean for our work and our time together? The good news is that the local air district, the San Diego Air Pollution Control District, still has enough funding right now to continue this work together this full year, this upcoming year. And so we have enough funds in our own budget to, that have been allocated in previous years from the GGRF funds that we've saved for potentially times like these that we're using this year. But I do want to note that if this shift in funding continues away from AB617 at the state level, it can really impact and affect the program and the work we do together in the future. But for this upcoming year, APCD has the funds in their budget to continue this program and this work together in all three of these areas that I've mentioned here today. And then next slide, please. So is there still hope to have some funding allocated to the Community Air Protection Program this fiscal year at the state level? I want to say yes, there is certainly still hope to do that, even though it isn't currently listed in the budget right now. But final decisions about how the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, the GGRF fund, final decisions about how those funds are going to be used are going to be made in August or September of this year that we're anticipating. So there's still an opportunity for folks to share what this program means to them and share their support for this program as well. The local air district, APCD, is working with other air districts throughout the state. Excuse me. Throughout the state to let the governor and also legislators know how important this program, AB617, the Community Air Protection Program, is to our communities. But you also can help share your support for continued funding in the program. And if you'd like to get involved and send a message of support, you can contact the following representatives here. I know this is a lot to jot down. I'll follow up with Kearns and West after this meeting so that they can make sure that they are able to send out this information via the listserv as well. But yeah, happy to answer any questions that folks may have or any comments that folks may have as well. But wanted to provide an update to this group in terms of the current status of the funding, and also ways in which for folks to continue to be involved in the process, in contacting our elected officials as well. But yeah, I'll open it up to questions and comments if folks have any at this time.
If I may, so I'm Melinda Dumasani from CARB, and certainly we appreciate those kind words, and certainly we are very committed to this program. So just want to reiterate that we feel strongly that this program is very important to the communities, and you know, this is some interesting times certainly, but you know, I think definitely working together, we can kind of weather this budget storm. So definitely appreciate all the support for this program, and your time and effort here is so valuable. So we definitely appreciate you taking time away from your personal lives to devote to air quality. And together we can definitely make it through this interesting time, shall we say. So thank you. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Melinda. And then Penelope.
Hi, I just wanted to say that I hope that funding will still be made available to really support the strides the Air District has made in very concrete ways, such as staffing to address this issue and putting air monitoring in impacted neighborhoods. That makes a huge difference to really be able to document what's happening. You know, just for example, the hydrogen sulfide monitors that you want in River Valley, the, you know, super site kind of, whatever you call it in San Isidro. But, you know, I just hope that those can continue at the same level because they're really, really making a difference. So thank you all.
Thank you, Penelope. So I'm going to move on to our next slide. So this is also a general CARB update. So there was a public meeting to hear somewhat of an update on the annual progress report from CARB. This meeting's happening on July 24th. And then I believe should be no earlier than 4 p.m. The meeting itself is happening in person, but there is a remote option as well available. So I believe we'll share that information with that Zoom link itself. And then we've also linked additional resources at the bottom with information for the meeting. So I think our team's going to send that along. But it is a good opportunity, I think, one, to hear some of the work I think that Shalem talked about, which is like what else is happening statewide, because we know that our different communities doing the same type of work, hearing about their progress, and then I think also the opportunity to hear about the work that's been happening here as well, through Portside and then International Park Committee as well. So just want to highlight that as well for everyone. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Lauren, and see if you can give an update from your team and then some of the work that y'all been doing with IDA.
Yeah. Thanks, Christian. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thanks. Yeah, so the Office of Environmental Justice, just a couple updates on some outreach we've been doing. We've been doing some flyering for the aire program. So that program's still going on. That's the air improvement relief effort, where we're giving away the air filters, purifier devices in the areas affected by the hydrogen sulfide smell. So please continue to spread the word on the project. And if you want to join us in flyering, please reach out to me. Let me know. Next week, we have a couple opportunities where our team will be out flyering in the community. So Tuesday, July 22nd, along Bayer Boulevard and Del Sol Boulevards. It's kind of like north of the 805 between north of the 905 between the 5 and the 805, kind of like right in the middle there. And then also on Wednesday, the 23rd, in the afternoon at 4, will be just kind of south of the 905 between the 5 and the 805 along Del Sol Boulevard and Shooting Star Drive. And we are still doing some outreach and sign up events in the community as well. So if you're interested in learning more, feel free to reach out. We have flyers. We can also provide you, if you want to share those with anybody, feel free to email me and I can get them to you as well, because we do still have purifiers and filters available to people that we want to get in households. And then also coming up, we'll be taking part in a program called Parks After Dark. So this is the City of San Diego and the San Diego Parks Foundation, where they have parks around the city open, and Silver Wing Recreation Center is taking part. I think this might be the first year they're taking part. So that is in like Otay Mesa area. It's every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday through July, where they have free all sorts of activities for families, really kind of focused for children, free meals for children as well. And that's Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays. So I'll put a link in the chat here where you can look up more information and find different parks taking part, because they're all across the city. So we'll be participating in some of those. So keep an eye out for us as well. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Lauren. No, I'll take a moment and see if there's any questions from anyone. But I'm trying to see if I see any hands. I don't. But thank you for that update, and hopefully we'll see folks out there for both the flyering, but then also that event as well. So I'm going to keep moving through our agenda. We did want to open up space one to see if there are any updates from anyone else, anything that folks would like to share, stuff that might be also happening in the community as part of the other groups. So if folks do want to jump in, if you want to raise your hand and then or add anything in the chat, that is welcomed. And then the other thing that we did want to do as part of this general update is that we do want to note that we might have some new folks joining us today. New CSE members. So I'm not sure. I'm not seeing folks, and if they are on here, if you'd like to raise your hand, we'd love if you can introduce yourself, and that way we can do a proper group welcome today. And Christopher, I see you through a hand raised. So, and we can't hear you. So let's see. It looks like you're unmuted, but
Can you hear me?
oh, there. Now we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so hi everyone, Christopher Roberts. I was previously working with y'all when I was with TruckNet down in Otay Mesa. Since then, I joined San Diego Gas and Electric. I'm part of their clean transportation group, focusing on the subsidies that we offer for chargers, and also our transportation electrification advisory services, which helps customer, find funds and in our service territory, and helps them plan for electrifying their fleet. So I'm here to just, listen in and offer whatever value I can, and find out what the latest and greatest is in our community. Very, very involved and invested in what happens in our border community, having grown up in Mexicali, Baja California, and I've been around the transportation industry my entire life. So this is important to me, and again, I want to just offer as much value as I can.
Thank you, Christopher, and a big welcome, I think, from the group, and re-welcome, I would say, maybe since it's a re-edition or reintroduction. So
Yeah, thank you.
looking to see if there's anyone else who is a new CSC member. And if not, I think we'll be doing some of these welcomes, I think, as we get new folks joining the group. So just as a note, we are doing orientations for those new folks that are joining the CSC. So folks are getting a little bit of that precursor information about what the group has been doing and how they can just jump in once we get them onboarded as part of this process. So that leads us, I think, through our general updates. I'm actually going to look at our chat and see if there's anything. Nothing. So we're going to keep moving. So I think for this next section, Shalom, I think we're going to hand over the mic to you. You're going to be walking us through CERP priority strategies. We'll be doing a little bit of an interactive activity as well as part of that moment. So hopefully folks are ready to participate. But with that, Shalom, I'm going to hand it off to you. So
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Christian. So if you recall, maybe about 4 or 5 months ago, I gave a presentation to say, look, we've got 120 something specific strategies in the community emission reduction program. What are potentially some strategies that there are opportunities to gain momentum on and make some real progress this coming year? Maybe it was closer to 5-6 months. And so I had shared with you some thoughts in terms of what some of those strategies could be. You shared some feedback on additional strategies you'd like us to focus on, and also some ideas on some actions we can take in order to help advance those strategies as well. So really wanted to use this time to do a check-in, to share some of the progress we've made since the last time we checked in about these specific CERP strategies. Next slide, please. All right. So folks are very, very familiar with this slide. And if we can click a few more times, I think there's 5 panels or 6 panels. There we go. Very familiar with these slides. These are the key priority areas that are included in the Community Emission Reduction Program that you all helped develop. And there are embedded strategies in each one of these areas. If we go to the next slide, please. One of the strategies, or a couple of the strategies that we said we'd focus on are in the community care section, around reducing air pollution exposure at schools, and then reducing indoor residential exposure for people in their homes, right? Next slide, please. So I wanted to provide an update in terms of the efforts we've been doing to advance these 2 strategies, but not just the actions we've been doing. What are the actual results and outcomes related to those actions? So between April and June, and I got to give a lot of kudos to Lauren on our team, who's been really leading this effort, and David and Karina, who have been supporting with this as well. But we have been doing really intentional and intensive engagement to share with community members about the Home Air Purifiers program, or the aire program. And here are some of the places between April and June, and some of the activities and actions that we've completed between April and June. So flyering after school, the parents and all, going to different community events, and providing information and signing people up. And we have some photos here. I think the one on the top is us at the Abrazo program. Excuse me, Abrazo event hosted by Casa Familiar. You can see the air purifier there in the background. People signing up at some of these events, folks taking information. Also coordinating, one of the things we've done, we've coordinated with the Environmental Health Coalition, which was doing door-to-door flyering regarding a different air quality program. But they said, hey, we're going to be out in the community sharing information on this other program. Is there anything you'd like us to share with the community? We said, yes. So we gave them a bunch of flyers, and they did a lot of outreach, door-to-door outreach as well. So connecting with the schools, connecting at community events, and then door-to-door or outreach, essentially. Between April and June, we saw 2,117 applications that were completed, and those air purifiers got sent to folks' homes in that time frame. And in total, that brings the program, and this is based upon June numbers. It's probably higher than that now, given we're a couple weeks into July. But total for the program so far, and this program launched, I believe, in November, is about 5,085 air purifiers that have been distributed to community members in the Tijuana River Valley that are impacted by the odors coming from the river and all. But we did see that through that intensive engagement was really helpful and effective in really getting a big surge of community members knowledgeable and interested in the program. We're not stopping there. We have, and Lauren shared in her update, we have a number of engagement planned for July and August. Our team is looking at, we have actually data to show where's the concentrations of folks who have already applied for the program and receive filters. And then where are there pockets or gaps where people haven't applied? So our team is planning to do intentional, targeted, door-to-door outreach and flyering in those areas where we see that there's pockets where people haven't really applied to the program. And we have, I believe, 3 different sessions set up to do that in 3 areas. And then we're partnering, there's an actual aire team, and you actually see on the bottom picture, Anita Lopez, who's come and done presentations here before, who's the project lead on that. She's leading an effort to connect with community members who live in senior housing, doing sign-up events, and our team is also supporting with that in the month of July and August. So we're not done getting the word out, but I wanted to share with you all what's the efforts we've done thus far, and what have been the outcomes as a result of those efforts as well. So we are, and I know that many of you as well have also supported with flyering, have taken flyers in your own communities and all. So we really, really appreciate that support. If you all would like to have more flyers to share out in your communities, let us know. We'd be happy to get that over to you. Before I transition to kind of the next kind of set of strategies to provide an update on, just want to pause here and see if folks have any questions or comments.
Not seeing any hands, but I'm seeing a comment in the chat from Alejandro.
Awesome. Thanks, Alejandro.
And I do see a note from Margarita, so it's that she'd like to get some of the flyers so she can distribute in her community.
Thank you, Margarita. And we'll have Lauren reach out to you to coordinate dropping off flyers. I believe we'll be back in the community next week. We'll actually be out there, so we can definitely. Thank you. Awesome. All right, let's go to the next slide, please. And like I said, we'll continue to provide updates on how the outreach is going and what the status of the thank you, Trinidad. Thank you. Gracias. We'll continue to provide those updates to you all, but just wanted to do a check-in to be, to let you all know that we've been really working hard and really prioritizing these efforts. The other strategy is around high quality air filters in school, which is a really important strategy that you all highlighted in the Community Emission Reduction Program, the CERP. I wanted to share with you some of the actions we have done and some of the outcomes that have resulted, that have happened as a result of those actions. So we have done a lot of engagement and outreach to the school districts in the Tijuana River Valley, in San Isidro, in Otay Mesa area, within the boundaries of the Community Air Protection Program. And we emailed every single principal. I even had support from Lauren and David, who we literally went to the school and dropped off a flyer of information, excuse me, to them. And even made phone calls to the local school district, local school districts and all, letting them know that there is grant funding available to the schools so that they can upgrade and update their air filters in the schools. So I don't know if Brisa can maybe point. So most schools have what's called like classrooms have like an HVAC system. Yeah. And in those HVAC systems, there's these little filters that go into there that help them push out clean air back into the classroom. And so this program helps upgrade those filters, also helps pay for some of the staff labor costs that are associated with making that, that transition as well. As a result of the intentional outreach and relationship building we've done at the schools, we had there was 2 school districts that applied for funding to update their air filtration in the classroom. The San Isidro School District applied for 7 of their school, or I think actually that should say 8 of their schools. So that's every school in the San Isidro School District applied for this program. And then also every single school in the South Bay School District, 17 schools applied for this program. The amount of funding collectively that these 2 school districts have applied for is close to about $1 million. Kevin in incentives, who was here, I think last week, is working with the school districts, making sure that they have everything that they need in their application in order to receive that funding. But I just wanted to share this update that it is just even an achievement, right? That the school district submitted an application, and the Air District is doing everything we can to make sure and support them that they have everything they need in their application in order to be able to access those funds, to be able to then have those high quality air filters in the classroom, so that when the students are indoors, they have the best air possible as well. So, and I do want to note that for the history of this program in San Diego, which this program has been in San Diego, like I said, maybe nearly 8 years now. This is the first time that a school district has ever applied for this grant funding to update air filters for the classroom. Even though they were always eligible to do so, they may have not known about the program. They may have felt maybe that, maybe they didn't feel like they could fill out the grant application, or maybe they didn't feel like they had a good enough relationship with the air district to ask questions or what have you. But we're really, really making a strong effort to cultivate those relationships so that they do feel comfortable to come and ask questions. They do feel comfortable and know that this funding is also to support them and students and kids as well. Yeah, Cody, I'll answer that question in just a minute. So it's it's I don't know, to me it's a really big deal that we had this amount of level of interest. And also, I think in part because of a lot of the relationship building that has happened as a result of all the work that's being done in the Tijuana River Valley. Like, it's coming from an unfortunate situation, but we've been able to really cultivate those deep relationships with the school districts as well. So really pleased, and we'll keep you posted. We want to make sure, right, that their applications can be fully funded and all, but we'll keep you posted as that application process moves forward. To answer your question, Cody, so additional school districts. So the application period has closed for this year, but typically this program has been on an annual basis. So there is potential opportunity for next year when the application process opens up that additional schools can apply as well. So for this kind of application season, it's closed, but typically it's on an annual basis. Yeah.
And I'm just following up, I think, on Cody's comment there, because then there might be an opportunity to think through who are the folks that we're not seeing on here that might have applied, and maybe be a little bit proactive, I think, as we're nearing, I think, the next cycle, and start that early communication with them. Because I know that, Shalom, I think you talked about that it is communication, it is connecting with the right folks to make them feel comfortable, to know that, like, yes, you can go through this. And given that, I think at that cycle, San Isidro and South Bay, I think, are going to be good examples, case studies of, like, here's the other neighboring school districts, what they've done, how it's worked out for them as well. But Shalom, I don't know if you have any other notes there, I think, for folks.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's exactly what we're thinking. And even cultivating those relationships right now, even though the application process isn't opened yet, but just saying, hey, this is who we are. These are programs we typically have. We want to let you know, like, once they're open, because usually the window's kind of small. It's like a couple month window to apply. It's typically like April, May, and I know for schools that's the end of the school year. There's a lot going on, but if we can, like, build those relationships and queue up those conversations and all in advance, that will, like, really set them up for success. And yeah, Cody, I would love to be connected with folks at the Sweetwater Union High School District. I currently don't have any relationships or connections there, so I would love to connect with them, and then also bring Kevin into those conversations too, since he's kind of the point of contact for incentives grants. So yeah, thanks, Cody. I'd appreciate that. Any other questions or comments? All right, we can go to the next slide. So this slide here, so there were a lot of different strategies in the community emission reduction program, the CERP, that were related to cars, right? Passenger vehicles. Understandably so, right? Knowing that this is the San Isidro port of entry is the busiest port in the U.S. And also San Isidro is like the highest in terms of cars, has the highest amount of cars on the road than anywhere in California. It makes sense that there were a lot of strategies in the CERP that were really geared towards reducing air pollution from vehicles as well. So some of the actions that we have been engaged in, Zach from Sandag, I think, came here last month. I unfortunately wasn't able to be here with you all, but was here last month, who provided an update, right, on the regional plan that there's an opportunity to integrate a lot of these project ideas that you all have prioritized in that. And so actually the Air Pollution Control District, and we're actually working on getting, we'll work on getting that translated, but we've just submitted a letter to Sandag to comment on the regional plan to specifically uplift and advocate for those CERP strategies that that are listed in or that aren't listed in the regional plan, to make sure that the CERP strategies you've all identified are included in that plan, because essentially what's in that plan dictates what types of projects or what projects are going to be funded. And so Paula Forbes, who is the director of the local air district, submitted that letter last week, and with very, very specific asked to the Sandag board and the Sandag executive director to prioritize communities, to prioritize San Isidro, Otay Mesa, the portside communities in the regional plan, and what specific projects were indicated in that plan. I'll get that letter out to you all next week so that you all can take a look at it as well, but just wanted to uplift that there's been a lot of work behind the scenes to have our director at the air district engage on that advocacy to continue to push for these strategies that you've all have been uplifting and requesting. There are, and the letter will outline this, there are some strategies that are already indicated in the plan, already listed in the plan, that you all have prioritized, but not all of them. And there are some strategies that are included, but they're like for later phases, like after 2035. So we're really advocating that those strategies be moved and to be completed by 2035, not just starting in 2035. So there's been a lot of behind the scenes conversations and work going into you know, the advocacy specifically to uplift the priorities that you've all have mentioned as part of the CERP. So just want to pause there. Like I said, I don't have the letter translated today, but we're working on that translation and can have it out for you all next week sometime. But yeah, it's something that we have been as a team working with also our planning department at the air district to get this letter out. Just want to see if folks have questions or comments.
And Shalima, I will make a note, I think, as well on, I think you referenced Zach's presentation at the previous meeting itself. So I know that information, those notes are available. So if folks do want to, you know, one of you missed the meeting, or two, if you just want to get a recap of that and how that then connects to this, do look at on the website itself, and you should be able to see those notes. And it should have a good refresher. I think Zach did a really good job of just presenting the information itself, and I think walking through the different projects and priorities that we're thinking about as part of that plan. So. And I did make a note at the very beginning of this meeting that their comment period for that regional plan itself is occurring right now. So if you do want to provide comment as well, that's a great moment to do that as well. So I believe you have one more slide, I believe.
Got one more slide? Okay. So we're going to transition from me doing a lot of talking to you all talking. One of the things that I would love us to work on together at this meeting, and we've done parts of this before, but one of the strategies is around reducing air pollution exposure to what's known as like sensitive receptors. And all that really means is like folks who may be sensitive to air pollution, right? So, maybe someone who needs to go to the doctor, right? Maybe they're having respiratory issues, or they're elderly, right? Places where there's clinics, those are sensitive areas. Children whose lungs are still developing, so parks, schools, those are sensitive areas, right? And so one of the strategies you've all identified is really being able to strategically put things like trees or green vegetative or green barriers to kind of act as a buffer between air pollution sources and these sensitive areas, right? You've all shared some of that information before. We've shared that with the city, but we also want to take some time as well to open up that conversation again. We're going to do a little bit of an activity to document where are some of those key areas. We have Brisa and Christian are going to help with the tech side of things. And we have this map actually from the city of San Diego that actually shows where existing trees are located. So we can see where maybe those gaps are with nearby the sensitive receptors. And one of the things that or these sensitive locations, and one of the hopes out of this conversation is for you all to identify additional areas where there's those gaps. And then we're going to take that information at the Air District and try to identify, okay, the communities looked at this section, and I'll uplift it because I think I've heard this before, but has looked at this section right in front of Sunset Elementary. Okay, that little strip of land, that's actually not the city of San Diego's right of way, it's actually the school district's right of way. So how do we work with the school district to make sure we can get some trees there? How do we get funding for them to do that? Or maybe you identify another strip of land, and this is a good example, and we can add this to the list. But let's say behind Willow Elementary, where there's the 5 freeway. Well, that's not the school district's right away. That's not the city's right away. Oh, that might be Caltrans right away. So, okay, for those areas, we'd have to then connect with Caltrans. So I'm glad to see that Brent is here, because there might be some areas that we may need to connect with the appropriate jurisdiction or group that has the ability to help move those kind of projects forward. Yes, Brent.
Hi. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Trying to figure out how this works. Let me turn on my. Turn on the camera. Sorry, I just wanted to say hi. Introduce myself. Yeah, I'm an air quality specialist at Caltrans. Been attending these meetings for a while, learning a lot about AB617. We implement a lot of into our contracts, construction contracts. We try to, we do implement special provisions for air quality, and that's kind of my role at Caltrans, is to make sure that air quality provisions get into the contract, and we follow up on those, during construction. Yeah, just want to introduce myself. Thanks a lot. But learning a lot these meetings. Great.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Brent, and really appreciate your continued presence here and all. We should certainly, after this meeting, depending upon what kind of emerges to, connect, have a meeting with me, you and Jose, to kind of identify potential next steps. So appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to transition. I'm going to get some support from Christian and Brisa, but really want to open it up to folks to hear your feedback in terms of what are kind of maybe those key areas that are like areas where there's maybe sensitive folks, right? Maybe it's near a clinic, maybe it's near a school or park, and then we can actually go to the map. Zoom in and see where are the trees and where are they missing too, so that we can have that level of specificity, and we can then provide and then start to identify, oh, who is the right group to connect with in order to help move those projects forward. So yes,
So
we'll, we can go
we're
to
seeing the
maybe
map
take
right now, and then I'm gonna hand it off to Brisa. Brisa's gonna pull us up to a live map. In that map, Brisa's gonna facilitate our conversation, and then we have a lot of folks on the meeting right now. So if you do have comments, we'll be looking at the chat, but then also looking for raised hands. So if there's something that's in mind, raise your hand, and then we can start making those annotations, and also we'll carry the annotations as well from the chat. So Brisa, I'm gonna hand it off to you. I'm gonna stop sharing, and then Brisa will pull up their screen.
Thanks, Christian.
Thank you, Brisa and Christian. I'm going to rest my voice and just listen.
Great. Thanks, Shalem. Hi, everybody. My name is Brisa. I work at Kearns and West with Christian, and I'll be kind of helping navigate the map for you all. And we're really looking to the CSC community members to kind of help inform where there can be opportunities for there to be tree plantings. So I want you all to really think about what are the areas that you walk in, that you frequent. Where do you know that there's a lot of foot traffic, or maybe there are opportunities for there to be trees and maybe some empty spaces. Here on the map, just to kind of help orient us a little bit, we have our main schools, our primary elementary schools. So let me start this whiteboard so I can stamp on here. We have Smythe, we have La Mirada, San Isidro Middle School, Sunset Elementary. We have the Bayer Boulevard Trolley Station, the Our Lady of Mount Carmel School. And so we're really looking for you all to kind of help and tell us where there could be more opportunities for trees in the neighborhood. So if you all could either unmute, raise your hand, put it in the chat, and I'll annotate it here on the map.
And if there's any area specifically, because we're looking at a pretty big view right now, any area specifically you would like to zoom in to let us know, and then we can zoom in on those areas as well.
Yeah, and I should clarify that all of the dots that you see on this map are existing trees. So those are trees that are already there. So let's zoom in a little so we can kind of understand where there are some gaps in here.
Hi, Brisa, this is Alejandro. I think for the Southwestern College extension, right off the top of my head, I can't remember how many trees there are, but probably not that many.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know a lot of students get there walking or by bus, and like waiting in the sun is probably not ideal.
Yeah, so that would be like close to the post office, right? Like along San Isidro Boulevard.
Right, right.
So that's like,
What's the difference between the green dots and the blue dots, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so the difference in the colors is essentially what program the trees are a part of. So the green dots represent the City of San Diego's Trees for Communities program. And then the blue dots are all just, I think, previous trees that just existed before there were any like formal programs for tree planting.
Got it. So probably the green ones are like very small so far, right?
Yeah.
Recently planted.
Southwestern College is right next to the post office.
Yeah. Okay. And as we make notes, Christian is going to help me take a couple of screenshots on here because when we move around, it is going to erase. Okay, I see a comment to take us to there's a request for more trees near Willow Elementary School and Park Haven Apartments. So Christian, I'm not sure if you got a screenshot of this. I'm going to move us away from here. Okay. Let's go to Willow and Park Haven Apartments. And that is over here. So along Willow Road, maybe? Yeah, so I think the Park Haven Apartments are like down here. So maybe along Front and New Orleans.
And then I think that comment came in from Wendy. So Wendy, I don't know if you can go off mute and then let us know. And I see Brisa just made a note on screen, but is that accurate? Is that what you were thinking, or is there another area?
Sí, a eso me refería.
Thank you, Wendy. Okay, Christian, if you can get a screenshot of this, I'm going to move us along.
Got it.
Yeah. I do see another comment for trees along the freeway by Willow Elementary School. And so I'm just going to move us up a little bit. I know that's like around here. Along Calle Primera. I'm not sure if this tracks specifically how many trees are on the school itself, but I know that Willow does have a couple of trees on its campus, but we'll mark this up too.
Yeah, and I just want to note this, these are only the trees that the city of San Diego is managing. So there are other trees, but this gives us a good sense of kind of what's out there. So I know that there's a few little trees behind Willow Elementary, but it's pretty sparse. I'm even just thinking like that buffer area right there, behind Willow. Yeah.
And I think that question came in, or feedback came in from Penelope, I think. Let me know if that's right.
That's correct.
Thank you, Penelope. And I do see your other comments. I was going to note that as well right now in a moment.
But I don't live here, just to be clear. So I wouldn't know as much as everyone that lives here. But I do know that trees do block pollution from freeways, and the freeway's right there. So
Yeah. And then Brisa, just drawing your attention to the other comment that Penelope had a little above. So sidewalk leading to the San Isidro High School as well. And Brisa, you're on mute, so.
Thanks, Christian. I know there was a comment about trees being added near, on, or off ramps into the freeway. I know this is a very popular on-ramp here near the 5 freeway, so we can do a quick marking there. I think this takes you to the 5 South and the 5 North, which leads you into the border, and there is a lot of like traffic buildup around here in these areas. So we'll note that. Okay.
And then,
Got it.
Bruce, I don't know if you heard my other point of, I think there's a comment from Penelope about the sidewalk leading into San Isidro High.
Yeah, let's go a little more east. So we have, is this the high school over here? Yes, over here.
Yeah, and we heard a similar comment, I think, from Maria about the walkway leading into San Isidro High School. A lot of students walk there. There's no shade, and then we know that the trees purify the air.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Through the canyon. I know a lot of people walk through there. So let's see. All along.
I see that
Okay,
the
maybe
tool
here.
says that there's a lot of trees, but my memory is telling me that there isn't. I don't know. I feel like I've been under that sun and it's not that many trees.
Yeah, I know the sidewalk is fairly new, and I don't know if it required like removal of trees up into that area. So we can just make note of that here.
Yeah, one of the things that I want to do, all the places that we're marking here, I want to go do site visits and like take photos and stuff like that, just to kind of verify the situation, so that when we identify who the appropriate like folks to speak with, we can share that with folks as well.
I'm gonna grab a screenshot. And then yes, Alejandro, I think that's your point. There's a good point. I think Shalom, yeah, again, we're seeing the map, but I think for folks also to think of like as your experiences, as you're moving through these spaces, like referencing that. I know that in the map we might see and be like, oh, there are a lot of trees there, but then if you're walking there and you're like, well, I was just there last week and that was in the sun. Like, I think those are really good things to just note on here, because then I think to Shalom's point, then we can talk and be like, well, the map's showing this, but this is what we're seeing actually in community from folks. So just want to make that note.
Yeah, Christian, and I made an additional note here. There is an on-ramp here that a lot of, and I think there's a bus stop on the on-ramp. So I just made a comment there as well.
Oh, I took a screenshot as well.
All righty, great.
I do see another.
Okay, let me move it here.
So the next one I see on here is along the 5 freeway. I think we already captured that. So from San Isidro to Chula Vista. So I know that that is a bigger stretch, and maybe I think that's falling within maybe Caltrans with Brent, I think.
I'm wondering if this is the comment that Maria made.
Yeah, this is Maria's comment.
Okay, yeah, this is the on-ramp to the 5 here. So maybe this area around here. Just a little.
And Maria, let us know if this is accurate of what you were thinking.
Sí, sí, ahí hace falta árboles en esa área. Gracias.
Gracias, Maria.
Okay.
Got a screenshot.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I see another comment from Wendy. So Wendy shared on First Street in front of the Denny's. There's a little hill, and then there's not a lot of trees in that section. So
Denny's on First Street. Is it the one in by Willow Elementary?
Wendy? And Wendy, if you can confirm if that's the one by Willow or is it a different one that you're thinking about?
Sí, es es enfrente de Dennis, del restaurante de Dennis, hacia abajito donde está el freeway. Es así como casi llegando al puente, toda esa área está súper sola, sin nada de árboles.
It's by Calle Primera, it's lower. Almost by, it's like right next to Willow School. If you go down more. Oh,
Sí, pasando el puente de calle Primera, ese puente que te lleva al otro,
it's
el
lower.
puente que está
It's
enseguida
under the 5.
de la escuela Willow, y en ese transcurso derechito, en esa lomita, cuando ya vas a entrar al freeway, entre esa área, donde está un bus stop, como
Yeah.
enfrente del Six, un poquito más adelantito, del Hotel Suite Six.
Okay.
También
better get-
pasando ese puente peatonal del Aguilo, del otro lado del freeway, también ahí hace falta árboles.
So clear this
El
one.
puente está, oh, the bridge is this one, right? The one that goes across freeway. So like right here.
Ese puente peatonal pasa por arriba del freeway 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Está a la altura del Dennis que está mencionando Wendy.
Okay. Gracias.
So I'm gonna get a screenshot. Got that one as well.
Okay.
And then I also see another comment. I think this is from David. So the sidewalk to San Isidro Middle School is also pretty barren from trees.
Yeah, and it's actually the stretch from Bayer to the middle school. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the sidewalk is on the east side of Otay Mesa Road to go to the middle school. That's pretty barren from trees.
So I'm gonna So I'm gonna grab a screenshot. Got it. And then Brent, see your hand up.
Yeah, sorry. I guess my video doesn't. Okay.
No
I was
worries.
trying to turn on my camera but that's all right. Yeah, I just wanted to, like, when I first started my career at Caltrans, I worked on the 905 project back in 2007 to 2009. Construction, that's just one thing I remember working outside and how few trees there were around, just maybe like around the developments and stuff, but you just wanted just general comment. I think need a lot more trees down there on 905. That's all I had to say. Really, thanks.
Thank you, Brent.
Yeah, thanks, Brent. I think especially as there's a lot more like housing happening along Otay Mesa, we are getting a lot more vehicular traffic. So maybe notes along like Otay Mesa Road, you can annotate that.
Yeah, thank you. Yep.
So I'm gonna grab a screenshot, Risa. Got that. Seeing thumbs up from Alejandro. I'm looking at the comments, and I believe the last one that I see on here was from Margarita, and I believe we've already captured that one on Willow.
Yeah, I think we've captured a majority of them. Any final comments before we wrap up the activity? You can put them in the chat. You can unmute.
seen one more comment from Penelope. So, of the new housing in Otay is very near traffic roads. So I think that kind of loops in, I think, with some of that new housing development that we're talking about. And with new housing, then it's coming, we're getting an increase in vehicle traffic as well.
Yeah, thanks, Penelope.
I think, Bruce, I don't know if you're going to make one more note on this one.
Yeah, I can make Penelope's note on the map itself.
That again, if there is any other comments from folks, any other ideas of locations, and as we noted in the beginning, yeah, thinking about the how you experience your community as you're drilling around, I would almost even kind of make a call, after this meeting, and as you're going through the week, and you're like, hey, actually, this might be another good spot for trees to be put in here. Do reach out and send that feedback, because I think that is really helpful. One, I think, as Shalom and the team is having these conversations, but I think being able to situate that with kind of the experience of folks in the community, and how do we improve that.
Thanks everyone. Thanks Christian and Brisa for facilitating that. Just want to echo Christian's statements. Like, if anything comes to mind, please do reach out and let us know. In terms of next steps, we plan on making an inventory or like a list of what you all shared today, and then going and doing site visits, taking photographs. And then the third step there is trying to identify, okay, for this area here, is it the city? Is it private property owners? Is it Caltrans? Is it a school district? Who's the appropriate entity, right, for us to reach out to and start engaging in those conversations, and identifying resources and programs and what have you, to get some momentum on these priorities. So we have a few next steps on our hand that we plan to work on the next month or two, and then to begin those conversations, hopefully relatively soon, so that when we have another check-in 4 or 5 months from now, I hope to be sharing some positive stories and about the momentum that we're building here today. So thank you everyone for sharing. Christian and Brisa and Jazz are going to help. So they've taken screenshots, are going to help with the notes and all, to make sure that we have a pretty solid list and inventory. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you, Shalom. So with that, I think we're going to be moving on to our next item. So I'm going to call David to the mic. David's going to be walking us through an education module. So as we noted, I think these modules are an opportunity, I think, once you do a little bit of deep dive on specific topics. We'll be doing these periodically, but it is an opportunity, I think, one, to get a refresher, but then also for those new folks that are joining us, just to get an understanding and clarify some questions. Sometimes we want to make sure that we're taking that moment and doing a little bit of a recap and refresh when it comes to the content. So David, I'm going to hand it off to you. I'm going to move us on to we'll stay on this slide, then hand it off, and then.
Thank you, Christian. Hi everybody, David Flores, Air Quality Specialist with the APCD. Good to see everybody in the space tonight. If we can go to the next slide. So this is the second educational presentation about meeting your local air district. We developed we're developing these at our office of EJ with Shalem and Lauren. The first presentation, if you recall, was provided several months ago, and we covered information about who is on our APCD governing board. This presentation will cover information about the tools the APCD has for the public to submit air quality complaints. We will also share several community stories and review how the community can report an air quality concern. Next slide, please. So let me start with an overview of the agencies that regulate air pollution, and then we'll focus on the San Diego County Air Pollution Control District. So at the federal level, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, they set air quality standards for pollutants which are considered harmful to people and the environment. They research air pollution's impact on health and the environment, and they monitor mobile sources that cross state lines like trains, planes, and ships. At the state level, the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, can enforce stricter air pollution standards than the federal government. They regulate vehicles and fuels, research pollution impacts, and uses science to find solutions. And they also monitor and regulate mobile sources, right? Things that move like cars, trucks, and some ships. And then at the local level, we have the San Diego County Air Pollution Control District. We are one of 35 local air pollution control districts across the state of California. And we oversee air quality planning, monitoring, and permits for stationary sources and area-wide sources like consumer products. We serve over 3 million people in the county of San Diego. Next slide, please. Thank you. So what does the APCD do? We do a lot of different things, and you can see the Air District is organized into several divisions, each with different roles. Today, we're going to be focused on our compliance department, down on the lower right hand of your screens. So compliance ensures that businesses follow permit conditions and regulations as they're related to air quality or emissions into the air. So staff inspect both permitted and unpermitted sites and investigate community complaints. When violations are found, the APCD issues notices and may impose penalties. The division also offers training to help industries comply with rules. So we want to make sure that businesses are doing everything by the rules and making sure that they are complying with what is on their permits. Next slide. So you, as the general public, can also submit an air quality complaint directly to us. So it is best to submit a complaint as it is happening. So in the moment that you are noticing either an odor or a smoke, or when the event is happening, it's best to do it then, to provide us as much information as possible. And there's several ways to do this. You can send us an email with your air quality complaint, and you see it on the screen. The email is apcdcomp for complaint at sdapcd.org. And we need you to include as much detail as possible, noting the type of air quality issue that you think it is, the duration, how long has it been taking place, and the time of day that you noticed when that event was happening. You can also call our complaint phone number at 858-586-2650 and leave us a message with your complaint. Again, provide as much information as possible. The third way is to download and install our APCD smartphone application. The QR code on the screen will take you to our compliance webpage, which you will see in a minute, where you will find links to download the app. And so I'm going to move us forward to the next slide, and I'll share the type of air quality related issues that you can submit a complaint for, and show you what the app looks like. So here, the slide is showing the screenshots of our smartphone application. On the left, with the number 1, is when you open the app, this is what comes up on the screen. And you can see the different air quality related issues are already kind of separated, right? And so You can submit a complaint for asbestos if there's construction going on, and you're noticing, articles, and or you get a notice. If you're a renter, if you get a notice from your landlord that they're going to be doing rehab, and it's an older building. Usually it's for older buildings, right? Like 1940s and earlier, that there might be some asbestos products. You can submit a complaint for asbestos, for dust, for vehicle idling, open burning, if somebody's just burning something in their backyard and it's a strange smell, or odors, right? I think we've had a lot of conversations about submitting odor complaints, and also what's been happening with the Tijuana River Valley for smoke. Maybe it's coming from a restaurant that has, that they do grilling outside, and it's causing a lot of smoke if they're using actual charcoal. And you can submit a complaint for something like that. And then unpermitted or non-compliant equipment. That just means sometimes businesses will bring in different kinds of equipment that they use for running their business. And if it's generating a lot of emissions or smoke or other odors, then you can submit a complaint through that. And also for gas stations. If there are gas stations that just are causing more of, more different odors from the gas dispensing than you would typically think, you can also submit a complaint for that. And then there's a little button on the application for other, if you're not sure. The right part of the slide with the number 2 shows just the detail of what happens when you click on any one of these. So it opens up the form. The nice thing about the application is you can snap a picture, right, and attach the photo, and then it moves you through the detail of the complaint so that you can fill out each of these sections and provide us with the information that we need so that our compliance inspectors can have all of that information. Once they receive the complaint, the team reviews it, and it takes action to investigate the complaint if it's within our jurisdiction. But every complaint is researched and investigated and responded to once the team completes their investigation. Again, this is for air quality related complaints, and so I know there are other apps for other city issues, but this is something that's available for the public. I'm going to pause here to see if anybody has any questions. Shalem, I don't know if you want to.
I just had a comment I wanted to add, is that we have compliance inspectors on call 24/7, 7 days a week, anytime, day or night. Our inspectors are on call. So if you feel like if it's in the middle of the night and it's happening there and then, please do call or log it. If someone's not there to kind of physically answer, people are checking that 24 hours a day. And typically, I believe response time, if you log in a complaint or you call or use the app, an inspector will call you back. And if you've left your information, they'll let you know that they went out to go check out the issue, what the issue was, what actions were taken or what actions could be taken. Or they might ask you more questions like, hey, what did it smell like? If you needed to write more details and all of that. Typical response time, average response time between when a call is made or a complaint is made, either through a call, email, or app, is about 4 to 6 hours, which is pretty good, considering this is for the entire region, right? And so yeah, so I just wanted to uplift that it's not just 9 to 5 business hours, so to speak, but that folks are on call.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions. Okay. Let me keep going then. If I can ask Brisa to pull up the website, I'll show you what information we have on our website. And so if you go to our website and if you can go back up a little bit, please. If you click on the little compliance tab, this is what will come up. And I just want to remind everybody that you can select the language on the top right there. All this will be translated to Spanish, all the information. And so you can also easily see all of this in Spanish. And so you will see on this website that we have an actual map that shows all of the complaints that have been that our team has responded to, and it shows the average time, average response time. You can click on that map and it'll bring a live actual dashboard that we're seeing here, and you can zoom in even a little bit more to focus on the community of San Isidro, and you can see where people are submitting complaints. And if you click on it, it'll give you the detail. But we have received a lot of complaints from the community of Imperial Beach. I think that's the biggest kind of dot that we see on the map. And so this is good to know, but also if you submit a complaint, you'll see it logged in here eventually. And then back on our air quality complaints page, towards the bottom, you'll see here's where we have the QR code for downloading the app. And then the other information that I shared, the phone number for our compliance team and the email. So this is what you'll find on this webpage. And then other additional resources for related air quality concerns that may be out of our jurisdiction. Okay. And so if we can go back, thank you, Brisa. If we can go back to the slide. Great. Now I'm going to share some examples of instances where the community has engaged with our compliance program. Next slide, please. So it was the summer of 2024 where the combination of the increased sewage flows and wastewater infrastructure failures, right, created this environmental crisis that was affecting water, soil, and then impacted the air quality for all the residents of the South Bay. So this is what led to the increase in the hydrogen sulfide gas. So over 2 months last year, our APCD compliance team received over 2,000 complaints. That's in 2 months from residents using all of these methods, calling us, sending us email, or using the application. And so there, as you know, right, as a response to this, our compliance team went out and they investigated the U.S. International Boundary and Water Commission plant that is down there and issued multiple notices for them to fix those plants as quickly as possible, and also led to the effort of the APCD developing that hydrogen sulfide dashboard and data collection from the air monitors. If we go to the next slide, that resulted in this program, right, where we were able to request AB617 funds, as was being mentioned earlier, to provide up to these 10,000 air purifiers. And, you know, that level of community being able to report really elevated this as a huge priority for the South Bay. Next slide, please. Another example is in the community of Barrio Logan. So after the COVID pandemic, a facility that turned cooking oil from restaurants, for more than 3,000 restaurants in the region, they processed that into a low carbon diesel fuel, also called biofuel. They began to grow their operations as more and more restaurants were using their service to convert it to a biofuel. So community residents noticed, however, that there were noxious smells being generated from the production of this as a biofuel, and they reported that smells got so bad that they also had to hunker down in their homes and close all their windows and doors because that smell was coming inside their homes. And residents were organized by Environmental Health Coalition and started to collect petitions, right, to request more be done to reduce the odors. And so the APCD compliance team was able to go out and also document through investigations and issued several public nuisance notice of violations that resulted in the APCD filing a petition with the district hearing board for an abatement order that was aimed to establish additional conditions on the operators. So the petition was granted and it required the facility to install and operate an odor control system designed to mitigate those odors. And as a result, you know, this led to a noticeable reduction in those odors from that one facility that was producing this biofuel. So again, this is a way that the community has been able to work with the tools that we have provided to make sure that every community is breathing clean air, and that you know, those entities that can do more, right, are doing what they need to do. So thank you, everybody. I think this concludes my presentation for tonight on this education module. We welcome any questions either now or later that you may have. But let me go ahead and pause here to see if there's any questions.
Thank you, David. I'm looking at our chat. I'm also looking at the raised hands. So again, I think, yeah, I'm not seeing anything at this moment. But just want to echo, I think just that you know, the purpose of these education modules is one to refresh. But then just a reminder, I think, as well. I think hearing these community success stories are always kind of great as a good, you know, refresher of like why we're doing this work, why folks are participating, and why your constant contribution. You know, we just had the activity a moment ago with the trees. Why it's so helpful, because then that's what leads to these success stories. So David, just want to like thank you for that, and then I think we'll be looking for another education module. I think in a few sessions. I think we'll be touching on some other topics. Yeah, I don't know if folks have any other comments or feedback at this moment, but if not, then we'll move on to closing our meeting today.
Thank you, everybody.
So not seeing anything in the chat, so I'm just gonna move us through to the end of our meeting today. So just some next steps and reminders. So one, first reminder is that please register for that August 20th meeting. That meeting is now going to be virtual. We also want to note that you should have, if you're a CSC member, you should have received a calendar invite. So we are putting that in place now. where we're, as a simple reminder thing for folks that are participating in the meetings, we think that the calendar invite will help folks, one, just have that information, login information just a little bit more readily available. So you should have received calendar invites for these meetings. So, you know, the one thing you can do there is just accept that calendar invite. On our end, we'll be able to see that you've accepted, but we'll still continue sending out reminders to folks leading to that meeting. The other item, we are continually sending our weekly digest with updates from different partners, APCD itself as well, different things that are happening. So if there are any like notes or any things that you would like to share, do send it our way. Then we can also include it in that weekly digest. It's a good opportunity to share information amongst this group. And with that, I think we come to a close. Shalom, I'm going to see if you have anything else to add before we move to close this meeting.
No, just want to thank everyone for taking the time to be here this evening. Really appreciate all the feedback that was shared today, and looking forward to our next time that we're meeting. Just want to uplift too that if there's any agenda topics or issues that you would like discussed in this time together, please do let us know. We want to be mindful of what are your ongoing priorities as well. So as always, please feel free to reach out to us or the Kearns and West team, and we'll be happy to support.
Thanks, Shalom. And yeah, just echoing that. So if there's anything that you've talked about, anything that intrigues you, or you're like, we should be talking about this in this meeting, do reach out, let us know. We'll figure out how we squeeze it into the agenda. But reach out. That contact information should be in the chat. And with that, I think we'll move to close our meeting. So just thank you, everyone. Muchas gracias a todos. Y con eso terminamos la junta. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Good night.
Gracias, bye bye. Bonita tarde.